Good evening and welcome to Edessa the Dark Crusade Season 2. Tonight we have Sister Madeline just arriving to her home within Edessa. Her loyal retainers, loyal ghouls, are keeping the place busy, and she has sent out the day before messages to arrive. Two people, three people. For a couple, just to meet up and talk. She has some time this day, or this night, to discuss goings on, coming and going, and, well, to hear if anything out of the ordinary has happened, or maybe she wants to talk about some things. Who knows? In any case, Lady Joanna and Mina will receive a letter. That is simply an invitation that they can look. They can come by Madeline's haven. Well, haven, the place she lives in within Edessa.
Johanna will certainly take her up on that offer. She goes out to feed. She murders the nice person she feeds off of. She and her ghouls politely dispose of the body. The body is disposed of, not despised. And she goes home to clean up and prepare herself for an evening of socializing once this body's taken care of.
The road of bones. Indeed. Yeah. So I'm guessing that explains another thing, but all right, we'll get to that. Yeah.
And Mina will perhaps be pleasantly surprised when she finds she has a message waiting for her after she's run around, in fact, to Omar's shop, among other places, to catch up on her ratting. Thing that she has not been spotted at for a hot minute now, but has certainly gotten back into the swing without much remark to the brief disappearance. So she will have been spotted here and there about the city, hunting up rats with Alonzo, having a fine time of it, her usual smile and all, and hunting while she's out, coming back to find the message. She will quickly pen one off to Gregory as a caution and let him know where she's going and that she should be back before morning, and if she's not, well, fuck her life. Pretty much. And she will pass off Alonzo and get herself a change into something that doesn't look like, well, she's been running all over Riverside for part of the night. And yeah, she will perhaps still eagerly, but still with a playful sort of caution, come around Madeline's abode.
Who will arrive first, or will they perhaps bump into each other?
I'm guessing Mina's probably going to get there first because Johanna's evening is a little bit complicated, first by the feeding and then by the fact that she has a house guest that she has to shed before she can go anywhere.
Right. Well, Mina, you will see a person you have seen before, I think. A tall-ish woman. Just seems taller, more lanky than normal women. It is like you get the sense that, again, like she's not like thick, like fat in that sense, but she's big. But it's not necessarily muscles as well. It's just like her bones must just be big or something. There's like you get this kind of off feeling about him, but she looks normal and she seems fairly. She's very polite and will just let you in. And yeah, you will be led into a room where Madeline will just stand from her chair. You'll see that she's reading something, and she will just say, "Ah, Mina, good evening. Please, come."
And good evening to you, sister. And she will, as is her wont to do, will dip into the outrageously overflourished. Is it a bow? Is it a curtsy? There's bits of both in there. It's pure chaos, but all the same, it gives a generally polite impression.
Madeline
It's
will.
obviously her playing. Madeline showed
Yeah.
her better, at the very least.
Yeah, but Madeline will swing a bit with her. Well, it's not really a dress in that sense, but I don't know, she will do a bit of a flourish out of it, returning the gesture somewhat as she smiles and curtsies, and she'll say, "It is always good to see you. It has been a little while since we last met, but well, the two of us will not be alone. I do believe we will get another guest at a bit later time, but that is not something that will bother you, I hope."
I suppose that would depend on who it was, and if they liked me.
What? Lady Joanna will visit us. Well, visit me, but do the both of us company, I hope, later.
She just kind of nods along, still grinning broadly. She, in fact, probably twitched the lip back just a little further in amusement when Madeline played along with her. Sounds fine to me.
So, business going well?
Oh yeah, raging, as you might imagine.
Well, they are certainly raging. Yes. Rodents.
Yeah. Never. I mean, I'd say never seen the like, but I wasn't exactly ratting before I came here, so kind of goes without saying. You should
Quite.
see some of the things I've caught.
I thought I'm quite certain that they will be quite impressive, but I wonder if it is your good work is enough. It seems that there is no end to them. And if it is indeed by someone's hand, they will probably not stop coming.
Well, in light of current events, I think I'll need more than just Alonzo.
Quite so.
Since Johanna would be heartbroken to miss this conversation, I'm going to say she's not too far behind.
Do it.
Yeah, the two will just hear the door go and someone being bidden inside, and Madeline will just look up and just, I believe this is her now. And as she enters, Madeline will do her usual. She will just go over and hug Joanna in response, and she will just bid her welcome and just say, "So good to see you. Please come in."
She kisses Madeline's cheeks as she's hugged and gives her a. Her hug back is very ginger. Her hands are still aching. But so she's careful with them. But you can hug with your elbows. And she nods to Mina as they move back into the other room. Smiles.
Oh,
Yep, Mina will kind of comically oppose what she did earlier by performing what is probably a pretty reasonable approximation to a proper curtsy.
Johanna looks approving. She gives her a nod of, acknowledging it. And her smile gets a little fonder. Good evening, Mina. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Very well.
Are you?
Well, business is booming, you might imagine.
And how is
Kind of
hunting?
grins playfully. Sorry, what was that?
And how is hunting?
Oh, it gets more and more interesting every time I go out.
Interesting is a not particularly informative word.
Well, I did catch something that, well, it doesn't look like any rat I've ever seen before. I've seen an awful lot of them.
You caught a rat that doesn't look like a rat?
Well, for starters, it's roughly the size of Alonzo. Maybe a
Alonzo is
little
a
smaller.
dog.
Excuse me?
Johanna nods. And actually does not look particularly surprised. How did Alonzo fare against the beast?
He got himself a nasty scratch on the nose. Very upset, but he doesn't seem to be sick. So all seems to be well.
Good.
And I managed to, smack it out of the air before it got a hold of me. So now it is living in a trunk until I have a chance to hear back from that, nice miss. She kind of pauses for a moment. Lenora?
Out of character, which one's Lenora?
It's the Cappadocian that Aldrich has been talking to a good bit in social scenes.
Got it. Johanna nods slowly, very thoughtfully.
Tell me, Joanna, what do you think of this? Have they just been eating very well, or would you think that someone would be something or someone would be assisting rats to grow to such a size?
For what it's worth, that comment, Mina's eyes start kind of glittering excitedly. Almost. It's that barely repressed, enjoyed excitement.
Oh, I'm gonna peony that. I'm gonna peony the hell out of that.
Please do.
And depending on what she gets, I might use Read the Soul afterwards because. Oh no, Mina! Oh no! Out of all that, one success. Well, no, wait a minute. She has a specialty. She has 3 successes.
There you go.
Just 2 successes. Sorry, 110. 2 successes.
Ah, okay. And Sister Madeline has quite a few more. Do you have a specialty or?
Nope.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you get the impression, in Johanna's case, you get the impression that she has a pretty good inkling one way or another. And in Madeline's case, as she glances over and sees that just pure mischief on her face, Mina knows damn well that something has been done to this rat, though there's no real. She hasn't said enough to really tip it off, but it's very clear that she is perfectly sure that this thing has been altered.
Johanna just kind of stops and gives Mina a very curious look. And as Madeline asks Johanna what she thinks, she nods towards Mina and says, "It looks as though she has a fair idea."
Indeed. Please, the both of you, come. And Madeline will just gesture over to the table and bid you both to sit down. And as she does, she just says, Mina, what would you say?
I would say I don't think I know.
Hmm.
Or pardon, I don't think, comma, I know, because I realized that came out in one smooth fucking motion.
What do you know?
Oh, that's not a normal rat.
Is that all? Is that all?
Oh, it's more than just big. She seems to be having a good bit of fun playing it, not
Mhm.
really dropping much at a time.
Jan is patient.
Oh, you've ruined my fun because I haven't brought the box. I was going to charge people to look in it and see what happened. But yes, it's not normal.
In what ways?
Have you seen many rats with bone spurs sticking out of their skin?
There will be a slight noise, like just a short sound of air getting sucked in, and Madeline will probably. I will just do a manipulation subterfuge, which I cannot remember how many I have in.
Alas, I doubt this is sight-based unless she has a really blatant expression she's trying to hide.
Well, that depends on how bad or good she rolls this next one. Yeah,
Dun
that's
dun dun!
7, 10. I have 4 successes, so it's not that clear. But Madeline just seems to just readjust her, just sit up and just move in her chair a little bit.
Bone spurs.
The eyebrows pop up at that sucker breath, though.
Can you describe them? Did they move?
Oh, I didn't look very long. I had to hit it so hard out of the air that it bounced off a wall just to get it stunned long enough to put it in the box.
What are you feeding it?
Dead rats, mostly. Easy food source. She kind of shrugs.
That's a horrifying idea.
It doesn't seem to mind. Food is food.
She nods. Who have you told about this rat?
Well, like I said, I was planning to play a game, but I've had it for so long now, it must be boring. So, the two of you. Garnet knows I have it in a trunk. We'll have something in a trunk. Well, 3 somethings in trunks, if you want to get very specific, that need feeding.
3 somethings.
Oh, yeah, you don't just catch one. She wanted 3. Only one's exciting, though.
See. Interesting. She is not from Odessa, is she?
No. I can't remember for the life of me what the name of that other city is. Out of character, like, the fuck is it?
I don't know.
That place!
Sorry.
Insert city name here.
Madeline would just look over at her and just, look at both of them and just say, so, someone has clearly changed the rat, which is, that sounds, for what you describe, it sounds as though it is not too dissimilar from what certain people we know of can do.
Do you mean this to me? See.
Go ahead.
Quite so. Quite so.
Just nests herself comfortably back in the chair. It's not quite proper posture. She's not being a slouch or going across the arms, but she does just kind of get comfortable. Still looking very entertained. Eyes still glittering happily.
Now, this does not mean, and I would very much doubt that the clan as a whole would have anything to do with this, but certain elements within it, perhaps. As far as I know, this is not the only city being hit by this plague. It is quite well spread, sadly. Very many cities have been hit. So,
By rats?
well, the plague is in other cities, as far as I have heard.
Our plague is special. I'm very curious to hear whether other cities have also had rat problems.
This, I do not know. Which is probably something I should look into.
If you can learn anything.
Just out of character, Garnet, you would probably have seen, well, depending on it, but Mina has gotten a note tonight that has invited her to Madeline's place.
And all things considered, Mina's probably been sending someone over to get her proverbial mail, but Garnet would have seen that it came before it got ferried off to her.
And it
Okay.
seems to be fairly informal. Like, it's more like she's hosting a get-together. So, well, Garnet being Garnet, he wouldn't necessarily care if he just bumped in. But it would probably not be the rudest thing ever. If you want to, of course.
Oh, Garnet would have resealed the mail and everything and handed it back without them even noticing, and then would promptly turn up on the door and would just knock, standing there with a pleasant smile on his face, waiting for someone to answer.
It will take some time, but a large-ish woman, a little too broad shoulders, a little too tall, and it's a little bit off. Just with a smile, opens the door and just, your worship, please come inside. And she smiles to you, closes the door behind you, follows you in, and Madeline will get up as she hears the door and just, Garnet, what a pleasant surprise. Please, come in.
He'll smile and put his hands behind his back and just stride in very gracefully.
It is good. Here to keep an eye on your little sister?
Well, I heard there was a event, and, well, Mina did say that I should come along if I feel so inclined.
Oh, it is only a couple of girls who wants to gossip a bit.
I see. You turn and smile broadly at Johanna and stare right into Mina's eyes. Gathering for weaving and gossiping. Such a wonderful occasion, then. You don't mind if I join you, Madeleine?
Well, I will not be held responsible if you will be called a girl after this, but... And she's obviously joking, but she just... But, of course, we were just discussing, well, the plague, in lack of a better topic.
The plague. Oh, well, you sit down very gracefully. I see.
As you do when weaving and gossiping. Garnet does not mean to compliment.
You just smile again. Well, you'll turn and look over at Mina. Well, do continue. I would merely listen if there's any new information, of course.
Well, Mina has had quite a catch. A rather large rat with some, well, things that was not that of normal nature's design, shall we say. The description bears some resemblance to a creature that has been vicissituted.
I see. Rub his chin.
And if this is indeed true, and some of these rats are changed in that way, it makes them harder to get rid of. But it also means that there are at least some with this vicissitude power, at least associated with whoever is behind all of this, because someone must be behind this at this point.
It would make sense with being able to see things and see the rats in the cages and the person who holds them even speaking. Those with the sight can often see him. I believe some of us did that night.
I heard something myself, but yes.
The Zimitsi do have that same gift.
Mm.
It would explain how we were able to commune almost at a glance, and if it has been such modified to the extent. It seems the dragons are getting loose and getting very wild then.
As I said before, this whole endeavor has hit them just as hard as everyone else. I do not believe the clan at large would have orchestrated something like this. Perhaps a fringe element, or a couple of people. Or perhaps it is a collaboration between more clans for another purpose that is not in any one clan's interest. I have not heard or seen of any clan faring decidedly better than anyone as a direct result of the plague.
Except the La Sombra.
Well, she just looks at you and just, why would you say that? I have heard of quite a few clanmates who have trouble. Myself and Ulrich, of course, we have our little isolated communion. Is that what you are referring to?
She smiles very faintly and nods. She's watching Madeline very, very intently. With kind of the look on her face is distinctly worried.
I will actually have to roll something once more. Wow, I fail.
Oh no! Hang on, I might fail too. I failed too. So, all of that,
Yeah. There are some Arcadians that will spot the fuck out of it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Both of you will notice that Madeline is a bit defensive when she says that. Like when Joanna asks or begins to indicate the La Sombra, Madeline becomes like that. Response to Joanna was a little bit defensive and a little bit snappy. She
Guy just leans back with a popcorn face in his hand. It's like, ooh.
Mina has also mastered the popcorn face.
Madeline will just say, "Well, I do not assume that you are suggesting that." She looks at anyone from my clan are, well, I suppose they could be involved as much as anyone, but I have not received any indication from my clan that this was some I mean, what would be the purpose for any clan, any one clan to do this, to orchestrate this? What would be its purpose?
Are you minute subbing?
Yes.
Nope. Johanna is not doing anything tonight. That was a pretty good roll, too. Johanna is blinded by her love for Madeline. All of this seems completely legit.
Twarna, the only one. Like, it's very hidden, but there is a hint of it. Like, you have, what, 5 successes, and Madeline has 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is very subtle. But there is something that is making Madeline. It's well hidden, but there's something that Madeline. There's nagging Madeline for some reason in regard to this.
He just
There
starts
is
moving forward slowly, more and more interested, staring at Madeline.
The political situation in Odessa has been gently strained for some time, though the treaty keeps violence at bay. The strength of our prince, our seneschal.
I just pray that my actions will not, or my recent actions, have not strained it too much.
What do you mean?
My attempted apprehension of Margot at the rack.
How is Margot doing, by the way?
Well, Madeline smiles very widely, and she says, I'll just roll this before I say anything. Madeline will just smile very broadly, and she will just say, "Oh, I do believe she is doing very well. I think she is fairly relaxed at this point. I think things have calmed down. I have not heard from her, of course, but I think she's doing well."
That's good to hear. Margot is such a dear, after all.
Like, Madeline her grin is just getting a little bit wider by the minute.
Oh, I'm gonna have to roll for that then. Hang on.
Actually, I will make it easier. I should make it easier. Maybe I shouldn't even have rolled.
5 successes.
Yeah, like, Madeline knows something. Like, yeah. Yeah, Joanna, you can tell. Madeline knows something. Like, that smile and that coy way she answered, you can tell.
Johanna folds her hands quietly in her lap. She has 4 successes to look completely bland.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Oh, but
You look fine, yeah. Or just looks over at your hand and just like, huh? She looks fine.
not a botch, not a botch, not a triple botch. Yay for the 7.
Yep.
I'm so good at this. Ugh.
Well,
Mina's popcorn face has intensified. She is not catching all of this, but you know what? It has just been such a compelling conversation. She's still got just those glittering happy eyes.
oh, by the way, I was I suppose I could tell you. You all of you met a fellow, a member of Clan Gangrel named Torvald?
Of course.
I shake his head idly.
The giant.
Indeed. He is my new pupil. He is under my study. I hope you will afford him at least some courtesy when you're talking to him. As much as, of course, you would do to any member of our, well, families. But it is not, I am not taking over as his sire. I am merely teaching him. And he is teaching me.
There's a little subtle glance to Mina with a ever sweet smile on his face. You just nod.
Mina intensifies.
Johanna just nods because Madeline already told her this. And so did Torvald.
He is a good teacher and a good student.
He's very clever. I'm fascinated to see how this will play out.
Are you? I think that there are some of the lessons you would not wish to see, but that is my guess anyway.
My. Look at Johanna. Well, depends. I heard Johanna can be quite expansive in her interests.
That wasn't quite what I meant. And who have you heard such things from, Garnet?
That would be telling, darling.
Your sources are incomplete.
For now, you say with a grin.
I meant that I am pleased by your alliance. I think you will do well under your tutelage. I have seen the two of you together. There's great strength in you both. And God knows the city needs strength. Now more than ever.
Quite so. His strength, his endurance, both body and mind, will serve himself and myself well, I hope. And of course, I will teach all willing to listen and learn. Should the need arise.
He and I have spoken about the rats. I think it will take a great deal of effort. Communal effort, which is not particularly something our kind either aspires to or excels in.
No, one cannot say that with a straight face. Unless, of course. Go ahead.
Unless we intend to abandon the city. Our enemies still work against us. Clearly they seek to bring down the Cappadocians.
Pardon? Why do you say that they particularly want to bring down the Cappadocians?
Do you not hear of the rats? In the Prophet's Quarter. Wait, was it the Prophet's Quarter? What was the,
It was the Prophet's Quarter.
Which is the Cappadocians?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 10 getting things right points for Johanna.
Yep.
Isn't that also Justinopolis Mount?
I mean, isn't that where the prince is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the prince is there, but his clan's
Okay,
quarter is the Prophet's Quarter.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Well, while that is true, would they not be against the Toreador? Not against all of those who have, well, all of those clans who have their domains that have already been hit. Would they not be against them as well?
The Guildhall certainly suffers, but I think we are beginning to see the start of a second wave. And if the city loses its Cappadocians, we lose our chance entirely. Only the Cappadocians and perhaps the Tremere can save us from the plague. Unless we simply set the place on fire.
You forget one clan that can help as well.
Who's that?
Salubri. They are capable in this as well.
Are they?
If they were not fighting a war with a very capable enemy.
Little from the Salubri. But that makes sense. I'm sure they will have nothing to say to a Toreador.
Quite right. But when dealing with something as this plague, I do believe that friends is not something that one should be in short supply of. And if I believe that if the Salubri can help, one should try to get them engaged.
I cannot. I think my attempts would be less than fruitful.
I am going to attempt myself in the not too far future.
There's one other clan whose efforts might be best served. They are also at war. There's the Nosferatu.
Madeline just looks to Garnet for a briefest of seconds, or a couple of seconds actually. She just says, well, I would say Garnet and Mina are experts on many things. I would say that the behavior of... When I hear of the Nosferatu at the moment, it seems to be overshadowed by one thing and one thing only. One of their clan that seems to share a little of... Somehow, shares a little bit of your blood.
Oh, Madeline Byrne!
He does seem to have quite a fancy for you, doesn't he, Mina? Have you turned? Are you fucking him? Or have you done something with him that I don't know about, darling? You turned just very casually, not even missing a beat, staring right into Mina's eyes.
Sorry, I zoned out for a second. Questions. They're talking about fucking Dagon, aren't they?
Yeah. Are you
literally talking about whether she's fucking Dagon?
Yeah. She just kind of issues like a snort. Like it doesn't even make it out as a whole laugh. It's just that absurd to her.
He is the perfect little distraction, though, wouldn't you say? Everyone pay attention to the madman while the rest of the rats slither into the sewers. Unnoticed,
Indeed.
unchecked.
That is true. That is very, very true. However, there is such a thing as reputation and standing. And I would say he is doing... While he is distracting, he is also doing quite a lot of damage.
To his clan.
I do not believe that it is only him who will hear from it if the prince is personally involved in ringing in this Dagon.
I have heard no other Nosferatu speak in his favor. I have heard no speeches from the Nosferatu at all. But I have spoken to them. She glances at Garnet.
Like rats in a sewer hiding away. And yet, in the other city, they killed the gangrel and allowed it to happen as if it was nothing.
What is this?
Negasi.
The Nosferatu killed Nagasi.
No,
Well,
they allowed it to happen.
and they invited the executioners. The African, the Canaanites, perhaps, of the Ebony Kingdom, was invited by the Nosferatu to make amends for the crime that Negasi did against them in the past. Which, of course, has now made quite a few gangrel agitated.
How agitated?
Hmm.
Agitated enough to help drive the rats from the city, if they thought the Nosferatu were involved.
Well, I think first and foremost, they are interested in ripping out some throats of these southerners, whoever they are.
Their interests have little bearing on mine. I wish to see the city at peace. Do you think they can be distracted?
Oh, they are already distracted, but could they be diverted?
Yes.
Honestly, I do not know.
I have need of your sheriff. Perhaps you would send word to him for me.
Oh, Doctor, has he... Is this related? Or is this another concern?
It occurs to me I now have 2 reasons to speak to him. One, to see if his clan will aid us in removing the rats. For without them we cannot cease this plague or even slow it. And the cemeteries fill. And the city empties. But on a more personal level, I have a house guest who's fond of falconry and distressed that the blood makes the animals shy from her.
Ah, well, then I would advise you to lead in and start with the talk of falconry. That will surely bring his attention. He was quite happy to show off.
If you'll send word for me, I would be grateful.
Oh, I will.
Do you remember the Ravenos' offer?
It is some time ago. It was a prize to find a particular girl.
Yes. Irene has apprehended her. She's a Canaanite.
Not
A
that big
beautiful
of a
one.
surprise.
No, I suppose not. It was a surprise to me. But the contest is over, I'm afraid.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the prize again? I forget.
A boon?
Hmm.
What is this, Mina?
Oh, it is a thing. it
I
is a
see.
particular bit of byplay that is going on.
Got it. Okay.
Mina is just doing exactly what she has been doing and looking absolutely delighted, playing with her hair a bit and just looking back and forth between the lot of them as they chatter. She hasn't gone down a single notch since the conversation began.
A boon from the ravenous Primogen. I hope she asks for a tea house.
Hmm. Well, the tea house is beautiful. I do wonder what exactly this child is or can give her. A boon from a primogen is quite the thing for a seemingly maybe arduous but mundane task. Have you
I believe
talked
the
to this
ravenous.
person?
Yes, she's staying in my house. I believe the Ravnos have had their eyes on her for some time. Her sire is nowhere to be found, and sounds to have been something of a scoundrel. But hopefully with patience and care, she'll make a valuable member of court.
And you mean to take the primogen up on her offer?
Her offer? To
Was it
deliver her.
not? Yes, to deliver her. Was that not part of it?
Irene is the one who apprehended her. It is up to her what she does with her. But I am assuming that yes, they will go to the Ravnos.
I will have to have a talk with Irene then.
But she has been recognized by the Seneschal. The girl has. So she will almost certainly return from the meeting with the Ravnos.
I am merely curious.
My curiosity has certainly been piqued throughout this entire game.
Oh, as it should. I am curious myself.
She pauses and then shrugs and then just kind of gives Madeline a we'll speak later sort of nod and changes the subject. Garnet, how are you faring in these nights?
Oh, same old, same old. Enjoying the quiet. Enjoying.
Quiet.
Yes. It's awfully quiet lately.
What silence have you found?
Many different forms. But it's just quiet. You don't hear pitter-patter of feet anywhere. Rats don't come where I am. Or that they could see me anyway. It's just quiet.
I am surrounded by the tears of the dying,
Imagine
the
that's
murmurs of the
I
worried
imagine-
shopkeepers.
I imagine that's an interesting experience, seeing all that death.
I think I have not had a moment of silence since that night in the tower.
He'll nod. It does get rather loud sometimes. But it's what you do in that moment then. You grin.
I suppose. I'm glad you are healthy.
Oh, you don't need worry for me. Garnet always is fine.
I hope that is the truth.
He's a smile. I leave that to your judgment. After all, good fix on me yet. You grin.
We shall see. You're difficult to get a fix on.
He just smiles and spreads his hands. You just have to ask the right questions, Johanna.
Isn't that always the trick?
It's part of the enjoyment, I find.
She lifts her hand very gingerly and just kind of smooths it over her brow. I do not know what to make of what has happened to Odessa, but it is still happening.
Someone is trying to cause as much chaos as possible, so we don't know which avenue to pursue it from.
Yes. I know how much you like chaos. Do you intend to help them, or will you set aside your fun for now?
Look over at her. Johanna, darling, it harmed us just as much as it harmed you. It didn't care. It didn't care what we were or what our preferences for things are. It only cares about itself and its own power. And it will tear apart this entire city just to get what it wants. It's rather basic, though, wouldn't you think? But sometimes the simplicity is such an often great thing. So, if he wishes to attempt to tear me apart, he can most certainly try. As for my assistance, haven't I been helping already?
Yes. I only worry about your fun.
My fun? That's kind of you to worry, Johanna.
What am I if not kind?
I
She
have my.
says dryly.
He'll lean forward and his green eyes will kind of almost ripple very darkly. I have my fun in many different ways.
Yes. I'm aware. But I'm glad to hear it as well. Oh no! We lost Katie.
I know.
Johanna's like, fun! And her computer's like, chaos! Madeline, where does Timron stand?
To stave off the plague as long as we can. It's very hard for, almost impossible for the kind to enter Timaran. And Also very hard for Canaanites. They are barred from entering, unless specifically accompanied by certain people.
If Odessa's enemies show their faces, if they declare themselves, what will Timoran do?
One cannot, well, Timaran cannot be here without Odessa. We will assist as much as we are able, of course. Also, the seneschal of this city is the grandsire of the Prince of Timaran. There is very, very good reasons for us to cooperate. And, as you know, we have already assisted.
How do you mean?
Well, I have still to devise the plan, but I do believe that if I had the time, I would be able to, well, eliminate quite a few rats at a reasonably fast pace.
Really?
Yes,
En masse?
indeed.
What
But,
do you mean?
well, this is where Mina comes in. I have talked with her about it. We need to be able to find their nests, or at as many nests as possible, and make sure as few of them survive or escape as possible. But, well, you have seen it a couple of times. Well, my less solid form.
Mina proceeds to grin ever so broadly. You're late to the party.
You're imagining a crawl through the sewers, swallowing them in shadow.
Indeed.
You
Think of
beauty.
it. The thing is, mortals exposed to it will suffocate quite rapidly, in fact. I can move relatively fast. They will not be able to orientate themselves. I can fit through very small openings and, well, I do see it as effective if used in a place of the city that is almost abandoned, like Riverside. I just need better timing, and I need Mina's and others' help to make sure that we catch, or how shall we put it, get as many of them enclosed in one location that they cannot escape as possible. It will not solve the problem, but it will help.
Mina smells approaching Cheshire Cat proportion.
Yes. Yes, it will certainly help.
But if I run from one small nest, I'm not exactly sure where it is, it will be less effective. But I have all the faith in Mina's abilities.
Are you tracking them, Mina? Keeping notes? Where they lie, where they gather?
Mina has finally, shuffled just a bit, leaning on one side, just ever so comfy, and is affixing Madeline with her smile. Has Irene not told you?
No.
Oh, we're already playing that game.
What do you mean?
Alonso is very good at herding, it turns out. And it's so much more efficient than having him kill them all himself. We started it even before what happened in the Prophet's Quarter.
He herds
See,
the
the
rats
thing
to Irene.
is...
He herds the rats to Irene.
Well, I know where people live and don't in Riverside by now. And so we heard them. I heard them into a room, and Irene in the doorway is enough to keep them from spilling back out. And after a couple runs, it's an awful lot of rats in that room, and she floods it. Where there are no people.
Beauties.
See, the thing is, we started that before what happened at the Prophet's Quarter, and I heard it was like waves.
No.
And I can't tell you how many rats we've chased in one big group, but they don't roll like waves. They scatter.
No, these are not natural.
It seems like someone, whoever planned to burn the Prophet's Quarter down, knew it would trigger a release of such things.
Or timed it.
Precisely. Seems as if the burning of the Cappadocian's domain almost prompted the exact release that person was waiting for.
We know there is a Nosferatu behind the rats. The question is whether it's the entire clan. The rats are in the sewers.
Well, it was not too long ago when I was Seneschal of Edessa and Prince by Temporum for a time. The Holy Land itself was, by proxy, ruled by the Nosferatu. They held the princedom of Jerusalem. And thereby dominion over the whole of the Holy Land. They are still quite the force to be reckoned with. That could make you wonder.
You are both ancilla of your clans. I believe that the talk will turn to war more and more often in these nights. And I hope you will both turn it back to peace.
Malkavians have always respected neutrality.
Yes.
However, if the Nosferatu are making such an aggressive action...
No. No, I think it is not all of them. I think they're willing to sacrifice some of their brothers and sisters here.
Or the thing that all of us saw in Clan Malkavian is using the Nosferatu as a scapegoat.
And that is also my fear.
No,
the vision we saw.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just kind of abruptly cants her head to one side, thoughtfully, almost like she's listening for something, and glances probably like fleetingly to Johanna, but then to the two and Scylla in the room. Who's the Whispering Woman?
There's a slow head turn.
Madeline also looks at Mina at this point.
She frowns faintly when no answer is forthcoming.
Where did you hear her?
It was written on the walls. Have you heard the Whispering Woman?
I heard the name. She affects a pout briefly and then kind of resolves, like, well, surely this time. And sits herself up again. Then who is Demise?
Demise is a name?
Oh, yes.
Where have you heard that name?
She shoots Johanna the kind of grin like, you know exactly where I heard that name almost. Like, not in a very obvious you were there, but almost as if it's a foregone conclusion.
Sorry, out of character. I'm an idiot.
It's essentially it's. I mean, I heard it. It's kind of the where do you think I heard it? From a Malkavian. And she just shrugs. I just heard it.
Mina. Answer her properly, not in riddles.
She shoots him kind of a hurt look. I did. She taps her temple.
Who's speaking to you?
Yes.
Isn't that always the question?
Oh, boy.
Yes. Yes, it is. They have spoken to you of Demise. Or it is Demise who speaks.
I'm not sure.
And you only thought to tell us this now, Mina.
Again, she kind of affects a sulk.
Johanna kind of
never
raises,
be sure it's right.
touches Garnet's
I hear
arm.
all sorts of things. Oh, sorry, what was that? It kind of cut out for me.
Johanna just kind of reaches to touch Garnet's arm gently. Like, don't scold her. She's telling us now.
He actually goes quite cold, actually, and he seems to be staring at Mina quite intensely.
What was said about Demise?
Mina is suddenly very disinterested in looking in Garnet's direction.
Aww.
She again shrugs. They were just names.
You've had visions of the Wishing Woman's name. Not visions. You've heard the Wishing Woman's name. Madeline, have you heard the gossip from the Prophet's Quarter?
I must admit, by what you are saying, I do not believe I have.
Whoever the Wishing Woman is, she seeks the Lady of Rot.
Oh, I see.
And how did you hear her, Mina?
She just kind of, again, affects a pout of a frown. Well, it seemed like just more words. But then there were the rumors. So it must be a real name.
What name are you thinking of, I wonder?
The Whispering Woman.
The Lady of Wrath was a name I really could do with not hearing again, honestly.
Offers a helpless shrug. Though, for what it's worth, especially with all Garnet's side stares, the smile has decreased significantly.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't take his eyes off her at this point. He's staring. He doesn't actually. He actually stopped blinking, even just stare.
You in real time get to watch Mina slowly go sober, essentially.
I am quite certain that quite a few would seek the Lady of Wrath, but I do believe it is for other reasons. I'm not certain that it has anything to do with the plague, but perhaps it does.
I didn't hear that one.
It was the night of the the night that the Prophet's Quarter burned. Every street alley and every corner is written in blood. On that night.
Well, then we must find this whispering woman.
Wishing.
Wishing.
Oh, sorry, wishing woman. Assume that I have been saying the right one. My B.
Well, we must find her. Seems that Mina has dropped us a key.
I wonder who calls himself Demise.
I think I have an inkling.
Oh. The tactician.
No. The thing that we all saw and burned us all away. A fitting name, wouldn't you say?
Goes from neutrally sober to actually very much so, like, almost slouched. She really doesn't seem to appreciate reminders of that thing.
Tentacle arms, no face, wrapped in shadow. Wishing to combine itself into something far more. Wouldn't you say? I call it demise.
You saw the vision as well?
As well.
I heard it, saw it, and felt it. Twice now.
The past. Seen from someone else's perspective that did not escape the city.
No. It's not the same.
This is very concerning.
I'm sure.
Please tell me, Garnet. What did you see exactly?
Several visions of decay, destruction. The first night in the tower, decay, destruction, and all things, and then a voice promising more death, promising more. That was the first one I saw when the rats came, and towards the end of the night. A voice, a tactician, describing the exact procedure of how they were going to unleash the rats. Of what looked to be a lecture before it all cut away as the cages opened. And in Elysium, when the music played and poetry read, the whole void opened and slithered out. Great eel, burning people away. Mina ran screaming. Primogen prayed to whatever god he thought was real. But only I stood and faced it, and saw that it merely wished to ascend into something far more than we could ever dream of. And it burned through everyone, and then when I woke, there was blood all over me, all over the wounds. This thing, whatever it is, it merely wishes to destroy and ascend. It seems that maybe the tactician, whoever this Lady of Wrath might be, maybe are its acolytes.
Madeline will just whisper something to herself, and you might actually try and see if you can hear it. It is very low.
Sure.
Sorry, what did I miss? What are we hearing?
Madeline will just whisper something fairly quiet to herself.
Oh, I'm gonna drop some aspects for that.
It's like you need one success or two or something.
Okay.
Don't hear it.
Tornik gets one of his shoes stuck in his ear.
Yeah.
What the? I can hear something. It's wait, it's my shoe.
She has 3 successes, and she's
Yeah, Madeline just whispers what you can gather is Dearest mother, I am honored by all of these mysteries you put before me. That is essentially what she says to herself. Um, and she just looks up and just says, "Hmm, indeed,
Lena, are you
quite
all right,
intriguing."
child? Sorry. Go ahead. Finish talking. Then I'll ask.
What did you say?
Sorry, finish what you were saying.
She will just look at Garnet and just. A long time ago, I was shown something a bit different, but it was regarding those who were in this city before Ulrich, myself, arrived. Something happened that killed everyone in this city. I do not know if it is connected, but if it is, well, what I saw was I was running, but it was not my body, especially. It was one of my clan, I believe. The person was running. It was night. It was a palpable fear. I was running for my life or unlife. And something large, wreathed in shadow, something monstrous, came after me, found me in an alley, and the person met final death. It was clear that it was the past. Something, within a matter of days, killed off the entire population of Edessa. 100 years, roughly, ago. Not its mortal populace, mind you. Canaanites. The only one to live was the Red Man. That we know of course. I wonder if it all this speak of decay, speak of a thing that wants to kill and destroy. If it is somehow related to this very old occurrence within the city.
Garnet will just frown and rub his chin then.
Mina, are you all right?
After one kind of witness statement and then the other, she's not making noise. She's not moving around a lot. She has just kind of bowed her head and is clutching it in her hands to cover her ears. And probably stays that way for a good bit. And about time Johanna makes a point of trying to address her. Will kind of tentatively lower them again, glancing between the three of them. And I'm gonna roll small power. I'm gonna remember what my willpower is. Ah! Jesus.
That's 8 successes.
I'm not even going to roll against it because that wasn't subtle at all. There was no subterfuge taking place there. No, she's obviously wrestling with whatever, inner demons she's got going on. And by the time she pops a glance up as I mean, not her normal happy manic self, but is still to all appearances clear-eyed and clear-headed. She'll, in fact, probably take a moment, especially if Johanna's leaning over to talk to her, to actually, like, snap a look up at her eyes. Not, like, looking deep into them, but, like, snaps a glance at them, almost scanning over them, and then resolves all the more and finally sits herself back up, muttering a very, very small little, sorry.
Garnet will just smile at Mina.
Are you not safe here? You're with friends.
It's just kind of a very small little nod along. Gotta peony that hell out of that fucking smile, though.
By all means, I'm really some subterfuge.
Son of a bitch.
It's the same innocent smile as ever. As watch your perception, self-control. Hate
I hate you. It is the self-control instinct.
Yeah,
I
instinct.
can't remember which is which.
Instinct.
Thank
yeah.
you. 7.
All right. He'll stand up, kneel down in front of her, cup his hands against her face. It's only the whispers. You're not dreaming yet. He activates Dementation 2.
And that's how long? For 2 successes?
2 nights.
Awesome. For what it's worth, this doesn't look like it reassures her in the slightest. She continues to look kind of off-center and nervous. Though she doesn't pull back, she doesn't try to get away from his hands or anything like that. She just doesn't look even the slightest bit like shored up by these helpful words.
Madeline is quite intently looking at the two, but again, she doesn't seem to interfere with this. She just seems to take all of what's going on in.
And Garnet will say actually in French as well for the just so for there's a clear language shift. He'll say, "Poor little Mina, so frightened of the things she hears." He'll begin to play with her hair very tenderly. Be thankful you don't see it all the time. Now that would be painful, now wouldn't it?
She'll actually kind of snap a glance to either of the other two. Do either of them seem to have any sort of comprehension on their face?
Do we roll something like peony or?
You could, I mean, like, if you understand French and don't want her to realize you understand French, you could, like, manip sub it. But she's essentially kind of glancing to see if either of them seem to understand what he's saying.
Johanna clearly understands what he's saying, and looks like she's feeling ways.
I need to double check a thing because I'm pretty sure that has a waking effect, and I can't remember. She just kind of leans forward and kind kind of like, in an almost kind of urgent tone, will attempt to whisper more quietly back to him, in French, actually. I don't want to dream.
Oh, but we all dream. Sometimes we can't help but dream. Who are you to say what you want and what you can't? The dream comes for you anyway. I know you're scared, and that's okay. But we all dream, Mina. Just depends on what perspective you take on it.
Hmm.
Unless it's
quickly
more.
read this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yana murmurs behind Garnet. Unless it is more than that. I warned you, Garnet. They're attacking the Malkavians. It does not surprise me if they are starting with fledglings.
Not laughter just seems to perforate it. It seems to almost echo. Oh, this is not it. No. Unfortunately, Johanna, this is not attacking Mina, no. Again, play with her hair very delicately. The dream is something far more different. The song, after all, is sung in so many different ways. Darling Mina, she's just frightened of the chords. And as a fledgling, who could blame her? The first time you hear it is never quite so terrifying as the third or the fourth or the fifth, is it, Mina?
Mina, if anything, is looking a little bit more frayed. She's not like horribly degrading, but she definitely suddenly looks very worn and is getting maybe just a little bit twitchy, especially with him playing at her hair. And she just quickly shakes her head.
How do you protect one another when the visions are fierce? Clearly you cannot hunt.
How does Garnet take care of you, Mina, when it gets so loud?
And all things considered, and I didn't realize the first time I ever did this that it does have waking effects. So considering the tweaks to her perception and whatnot, she just kind of starts pulling in before she was at least making some attempt to sit in the chair like a normal person would, albeit maybe slouching or shifting or slumping. But at this point, she's pulling her feet up into the chair and just kind of slowly retracting into a ball.
Madeline will get up at this point and go over to Mina, and she'll look at Garnet, or look at both of them, really, and she'll just say, "Some lessons are very hard and take a long time to get used to. But it is good for us that we can always rely on those who would ease us through such trials. No, Mina?" And Madeline will sit down next to Mina and kind of just uh, not hug her, but embrace her. Like, unless of course she resists, she will just guide her head to her lap and just hold it.
Choose high or low.
Sorry, what was that?
Choose high or low.
High.
Oh, lucky you. She perhaps initially twitches as the arm goes across her, and she very jumpy like will though weirdly enough, and I mean even Madeline would know this is far more receptive than she normally is. She kind of looks up, studies her for a moment or two, and just sort of starts uncurling, and yeah, will allow her to put her head in her lap and actually kind of nest up there against her leg, curling tighter and closer as if seeking comfort.
And Madeline will just she will not only will she do this, but she will also just readjust her clothing, so almost like a fuzzy mom who just begins to look at a child's clothing and just making sure that it's clean, dust it off a little, and she'll just, it is quite all right. You can relax. Focus on your lessons. And she smiles to him. Looks to Garnet, smiles.
Garnet just stares at Mina and stands up, just watching her. His body seems to hunch slightly, as he just seems to watch and almost takes on a very kind of bird-like shape.
How close is Garnet to Johanna?
Pretty close.
Okay. She's gonna reach out and stroke her fingers, stroke the hair off his forehead. Just with a very light touch. And with a voice of very mild mockery. Not derisive, but she's definitely making a joke. Kind of a shared joke. If he looks towards her, she meets his eye. She says, "Are there not enough mothers to go around?"
Garnet will slowly turn as the hair's just stroked out of his face, and his head will twist and just smile. So many, but they do get often lost, trying to care for one lost little thing.
Perhaps they have not enough women in their lives. Motherhood alone is impossible. Fortunately, Odessa is full of good women.
Good mothers do like to. Good mothers do like to watch. But not all mothers watch, do they, Mina? He'll say with a smile in his voice. But he seems to just relax ever so slightly. He doesn't hunch as much.
And yeah, she shakes her head in kind of mute agreement. She is wall curled up against Madeline and apparently perfectly happy nested up there. Is watching Garnet very closely. It is obviously between the three of them trying to reconcile something. She keeps kind of casting puzzled glances between them.
Well, a mother's role is to support. Not, well, some would think that a mother's best is best when she shields people, her children, other people's children, from the lessons they must learn. I disagree. It is only to support, only to help people with hard tasks they must learn.
To protect and to teach.
Indeed. I would never rob anyone of a lesson. And Garnet, you'll see that Madeline, as she says that, she will just look at you and then incline her head almost like a nod, but it's very subtle towards you.
He'll nod slowly. Just stand up slowly again, and Johanna's right beside him, so she literally hear his back just go up. He stands like at his full height. He's about like 6'4". And he'll walk over and kneel down again. Like, well, no, actually, no, he won't. He'll hover over Mina and just stroke her hair beside Madeleine. She just has to remember dreaming is not a bad thing. And when a raven or a crone watches her, she shouldn't be frightened sometimes, should you?
This time around, she suddenly seems, rather than upset or off-put, seems almost a little mollified, as if she's been scolded. And
Mollified
again,
as if you've been scolded?
yeah, well, yeah, essentially, almost as if like, whereas before she seemed uncertain of the intention or nervous about the intention, this time around, it's very much as though she is being chided or scolded. Like, she's not like horribly upset, but she almost looks ashamed of herself, and gives another small shake of the head, though this one without all the nervous energy behind it.
Madeleine is right. A mother does protect, but she does not lead you blind. That will be a waste of your talent. Well, this has been a most fascinating evening. And then he'll relax into that lazy posture of his and then just turn and smile. I'm assuming, Mina, you would wish to go home?
And she kind of hastily nods.
He'll open his arms very slowly, very tenderly.
Measures a look between the three of them, as if, again, trying to reconcile something or another, and taking in postures, taking in everything else. She finally kind of tentatively eases up and just sort of leans into the offered arms.
I apologize for any inconvenience this has caused you, Madeleine.
There has been no inconvenience. I have enjoyed this very good get together. It is no problem at all.
She just, again, give the same kind of measured nod that Madeleine's been giving him all night, and we'll turn to Johanna. And it's always a pleasure to see you again, darling.
Garnet, one thing.
Hmm?
These dreams that Mina could have, could others have them as well?
Oh, yes. Irene has them too. She tried to hide it from me. But we Malkavians know the look.
Well, I do not hide things normally. I would very much like to know exactly what it is, these dreams.
That's when Mina will feel Garnet stop and turn very slowly.
Madeline stands up and goes over more or less in front of Garnet. He just stands there, with a measured smile on her face. Please, we are all in need of lessons from time to time. Show me.
He'll grin.
And I don't know if you need to roll. I think
Yeah, it is your perception instinct.
yeah, you can just like we can just say that you get an automatic success on her because she's letting you. I don't know if that works that way.
I don't think it does, no, unfortunately, so I have to roll, but we'll see what happens. Oh, Jesus. So,
Johanna has stood up at this point, just saying, is watching all of this with
oh,
eyes.
For what it's worth, Mina is still like even with him turning around, Mina will be clenched into his tunic.
Difficulty was what?
what's your perception plus your instinct or self-control?
That is okay. That is 3 successes. Or
So,
yeah, that is 7. So that's 1 success, right? Because you had 2 ones.
I had 2 1s, yeah. So that's for one night. Yeah,
Okay,
2 1s.
that's okay. Yeah, it's 7. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, so that's 2. That's 1 success. So what he will do is he'll walk forward very slowly, and will meet Madeline face to face, practically like they're like skin touching each other, and he'll just lean right in, going, "You have to die with me first." And he'll plant a very tender kiss right on her lips, and that's when the Dementation 2 activates. And then we'll stop and turn and smile at Johanna very, very sweetly as his body again hunches back over to this bird-like shape and will just almost peck Mina up out of the air with his hands.
Gonna say he starts hunching. There's a pretty blatant panic response.
Madeline,
Make
for
you
her-
roll to catch her because as soon as you start, she is gonna bolt.
Johanna's going to how close is Mina to Johanna?
I mean, to be fair, she was like clenched onto Garnet and probably let loose as he turned to interact with Madeline. So, depending on how close Johanna circled around, but she's probably not very far from Garnet, so it'll be a close thing either way.
As Garnet is turning away from Madeline and starting to hunch, Johanna's going to lean down to Mina and say, "If the visions make it difficult to feed, to hunt, without betraying the silence, you know where I live. It will be easy to repay the favor. There are always rats. I will care for you." And as she stands up again and Garnet is hunched over, she's going to say, "When I tell the tale of this plague, of this attack on Odessa, I'll remember that the Malkavians dreamed dreams and saw visions, and that you were our prophets. Without you, we should never have survived."
Garnet will move very slowly, actually just forgetting that even Mina's there. His hand just doesn't even stretch out anymore. As he'll move very slowly again, hunched over, and whisper right into Johanna's ear, in that same disjointed voice that she's heard before. "We always see. We've always seen. It's just now you've chosen to listen."
I always listen. Even if I would not hear the song, I like a poet. I enjoy the lyrics, grandmother. Be well, and if you have need, I will listen.
For what it's worth, Mina is gone. Like, the second Garnet turned around, she took off, and with Johanna there and him turning his attention, yeah, she literally just flees out the front door. She's gone.
You, again, slowly turn his head, his bones actually begin to crack in his neck, and look right at Madeleine. Watch her, and you'll see. And then you can ask him again. Garnet will just literally then straighten back up again. Bones in his back begin to crack. Actually, you see under his garb the whip marks just almost seem to move in shape. He'll begin to just walk out after me and walking quite normally.
Good evening, Garnet. Be well. Good hunting.
He'll turn, and you, Johanna. Thank you for always entertaining me, at least. And he'll bow and walk out.
She drops a curtsy in return.
And Madeline bids them farewell. And, yeah, I'll just do, just for the sake of it. As they leave, and just after she was done, that is a manipulation subterfuge
To the
to...
peony. Off.
Okay, like, yeah, Madeline seems to be fairly normal, as she would just say. Quite an eventful evening with those two around. No?
Oh, they're alone in the room now?
The two Malkavians have left at this point.
Okay. Johanna's going to step forward and reach up to cup Madeline's cheeks with both hands. Very, very gingerly. There's faint moisture on the gloves because her hands bleed. And she doesn't, her palms do not touch Madeline's face, just the fingers. But Madeline can smell the vitae. And then she's going to lean forward and kiss Madeline on the forehead. And say, "You beauty. Be safe."
And you as well. But you do not need to worry for me. You need to worry for quite a few others.
I do not worry. I fear for your enemies and rejoice in their downfall.
Boy, I would hate to disappoint you.
You are so brave, Madeline. If you have need of me, you know where to find me.
I do. Earlier, there was a thing that I might have gotten the impression that you wanted to speak with me alone about. But
Yes. The Ravnos.
indeed,
I am fascinated by by my seneschal. I have never seen him speak as he did to the child. My curiosity is piqued. He was truly a king.
he is an impressive man indeed.
Oh, That is for certain. I meant to tell you that you may watch. I think very interesting things will develop. I think this will be a tale worth telling someday. I do not know how much of it I will see. Perhaps your eyes will see, and even if I cannot know it, I will be pleased to know that it does not go unnoticed.
It has already garnered quite enough attention to not be forgotten anytime soon. But this child seems quite interesting. But I am afraid that so many other things take my attention at this time.
Be well, as I know you shall.
Likewise, my dear.
Asking favors of Malkavians when you have so much on your mind. Christ help us.
Well,
Or me at least. May the mother, whoever she be, watch over you.
oh, she does. She always does. It is just her blessings are very much divided sharply into two categories, and one cannot have one without the other. One cannot be blessed, one cannot be shown good things and wonder without a harsh lesson, without pain. And that is why tonight I must dream. Have a good evening. And she will follow you out.
Johanna kisses her on the other cheek and goes, with her hands tucked into her robes.
And yeah, Madeline will just retire to her studies. Although, now that she's alone, if one could look into the room, every once in a while Madeline just seems to catch something at the side of her eye, and she seems distracted for the coming couple of hours, for some reason. And as a slightly distracted Madeline sits in her study and reads, this scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing, watchers for watching. Good night.